Since Russia invaded Ukraine last February, the war has seen its share of ups and downs. Now, for first time since the beginning of conflict, Russia appears in pole position to prevail. Maybe not anytime soon, but eventually. And Vladimir Putin, Russia's dictator president behind the invasion, is as powerful as ever. Less than 6 months after Western media began writing his obituary during the Wagner rebellion. How did things get to this point? So can Ukraine still surprise? All about durability. This makes it a battle where endurance is important. OpinionPratap Bhanu Mehta writes Vladimir Putin's lack of transparency in the fate of the Ukraine war. The same is true for the material costs of war. Ukraine has lost up 35% of its GDP since start of the war. As Russia's economy continues to hold its own as Putin completely sidelines West's plan limit Russian oil revenues. The bottom line is this: longer war lasts, more costly it becomes for both sides. But one side is in a much better position to deal with these costs than other. The West's weakening resolve. Ukraine's resilience is particularly questionable given the West's diminished appetite for continued support. Joe Biden's $60 billion funding package is stuck in Congress, and Donald Trump, who is increasingly well positioned to replace him next year, has notoriously failed to commit continuing any U.S. support. Most importantly, Europe is not doing very well. The €50 million aid package was stuck with Hungary and Germany. And Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni recently said that Europe is tired. Recently, Ukraine has had some conflict with Poland over grain exports. The West urgently needs to snap out of its lethargy, for Ukraine's sake as well as for its own sake, said a recent editorial in The Economist. But durability is not just about materials and human resources. Morale is important. Soldiers who constantly risk their lives and civilians who face daily hardships must believe that their suffering will not be in vain. In this respect, Kiev is in a much worse situation than Moscow. Under relentless pressure of Russian war machine and dwindling support from West, mood in Ukraine is somewhat despondent. With this despair, cracks begin to appear in the once unified politics. President Volodymyr Zelensky, whose has been tarnished by scandals and corruption, is no longer the beloved unifying force he once was. And amid army's failure to deliver on grand promises it made at beginning of summer offensive, war fatigue is slowly but surely gripping nation. Also read what Russia means for Ukraine. A long and complex history. On other hand, Russia and Vladimir Putin are perhaps in a better position than they were at the beginning of war. As stated in the Economist article quoted above, Putin is winning because he has strengthened his position in the country. Ordinary Russians may not like war, but they are used to it. By framing conflict to his citizens as a fight for survival against the West,